You guys are welcome to my channel, and today in this video I'm talking a lot about mental health and food. That is to say, the role of food in maintaining the stability and the health of the brain. In this video I'll be highlighting a lot about how food affects the mental stability of a human. A lot of people don't actually know that as food affects growth, affects circulation, affects digestion, affects all the metabolic activities that go on in the body, that food also play a major role in maintaining the mental health of an individual. That is to say that food is highly related, highly affected, highly effective in maintaining the mental health of every individual. Those with mental disability are highly linked with a lot of unhealthy feeding habits. So in this video, you'll be learning a lot about how food affects the mental stability of any human. Secondly, in this video, I'll be highlighting specific types of foods that affect the health of the brain. Specific foods that you might not really know that when you eat it excessively or when you snack on them frequently can affect your mental stability. Do you know there are specific kinds of food and amounts of foods that you're likely to take that can affect your mental stability? Yes, there are specific foods, nutrients, and when you consume them excessively can affect your mental health and the way you react, your emotions and mood changes and all that. Junk is number one food. One thing you should notice is that junk is number one food that affects the mental stability. When you eat junks excessively, junks is known to affect the part of the brain which is called hypothalamus. And what does hypothalamus does? It is the part of the brain that is responsible for regulating the emotions, changes, mood changes in human. And what does this junk does? When one consumes these junks all the time, it shrinks the hypothalamus, and the more the hypothalamus is being shrinked, the more the person exhibits symptoms and signs of mental disability. And one of the major obvious signs of this mental disability is depression. That individual is likely to become more depressed, and depression is one of the obvious signs of mental disability. Let's talk about what these junks are made up of. These junks are basically made up of high amounts of sugar. Yes, it's made up of high amounts of carbs, high amounts of fats, and high amounts of salts, sodium chloride. And that is why when you consume these junks, not even about eating it excessively, because you might just be eating it in a little amount that in your own belief you feel you are eating it quite in a little amount. And when you eat it, when you frequently snack on these junks, it can affect the brain by shrinking the hypothalamus, and by so doing you get depressed. There are so many mood changes that comes with it, not just becoming depressed. There are so many mood changes and all that. And individuals that have always that are known to develop one mental disability, their dietary history was actually checked, and they found that most of them snacked on junks. They had countless number of unhealthy feeding habits. It's shocking to tell you that 7 out of 10 people who had mental disability that snacked on majorly junks, that had junks in fact as their main meal, had suicidal thoughts. Yes, a lot of them had suicidal thoughts. And that is why when you see people with mental disability, is more of a function of unhealthy feeding habits. Yes, and I'm here to tell you that mental disability is a function of unhealthy feeding habits. So it was want you to know examples of these junks. Right now, I'll be mentioning some few examples of these junks that we come across every day. As a matter of fact, it has become some people's main meal. It has even become some people's major snacks. And one of this example is donuts. Yes, donuts is an example of a junk food, as well as bread. We also have burger. We have countless examples of these junks that we have made a major meal. And this has a long way to go in affecting our mental stability and health. Just like I have illustrated to you, I've made you understand that this, as you consume this, there are so many impacts it plays in maintaining your mental stability. And every part of our brain has specific functions that they play, which I have listed to you. The hypothalamus is one of them. It affects the hypothalamus by shrinking it, and the more shrink your hypothalamus becomes, the more depressed the individual becomes. That is destabilizing the mental health, the mental stability of that individual, and even increasing the complications of mental disability. Notes, I would like to give a little analysis about bread, the nutrients of food composition of bread, for you to understand how bread actually is linked to being a junk food. Because as a matter of fact, bread is now becoming a main meal for most people worldwide, especially during breakfasts, taking it with some others like tea. Yes, it's becoming the main breakfast meal for most people worldwide. Now, bread is basically made up of carbohydrates, high amounts of carbohydrates, and salts. Like when I mean carbohydrates, it is made up of simple sugar, high amounts of sugar, and it is highly processed. So as it is, apart from being highly processed and the amount of sugar, these are the major things that basically makes it a junk. And the calorie it contains is not actually the calorie that might profile one with long health benefits. As a matter of fact, bread is linked to an example of food that is capable of reducing one's immune function. Yes. So apart from bread, there are so many other countless foods, packaged foods, chips and all that, highly processed foods. These are examples of diverse junks that we are exposed to daily, that are examples of foods that that affects the mental stability. And those with mental disability, whenever they actually work on their diets, whenever they modify their diets, there are usually changes that comes with it. There are usually positive changes. Actually, they exhibit a positive change, and their mental disability is likely not to enter into the complicating states. One thing you should note is that almost all processed food contains high amounts of carbs, high amounts of fats, and high amounts of salts. So all this affects the parts of the brain that is responsible of regulating one's moods, one's state of mind, one's stability, and all that. So that is why when you are eating, you should be able to adjust to some of these foods so that you'll be able to note when it affects your mental stability. Please, if you like this video, I will be so honored if you're able to give it a thumbs up, and please, you can share. And if you've not subscribed to my channel, like, what are you waiting for? Please do and subscribe. And not just subscribing, please always participate by watching the videos. And there are so many things you're going to be learning. Even if you don't learn one or two things, you are likely to learn up to 5 different things, or even 6 countless things you're going to be learning, and I can assure you that. Thank you very much. See you on my next video. Bye for now.